Okay, namaste, everybody, and namaste to our Facebook Live Family of Light. And we have our light workers who are joining us on our Zoom platform as we speak right now. Just to let you know that we start our transmission at about 7:05, depending, but traditionally, as when we used to meet at the Cosmic Center, which is located in Sarasota, Florida, we would always have a chat before the meditation and transmission started. And there's a whole energy for that, is exchange of information. And I'm very happy to say that as of July the 12th, okay, the center, as I said, located in Sarasota, Florida, will be fully opened. We will still be mindful of, protocols, of course, to keep everybody safe, but we will be fully open and open to the public. So I know that's very exciting for a lot of people who have been missing coming together. There's nothing, quite like having that human one-on-one contact, although we will always continue now to have our Zoom or some online platform for those individuals who are not local to the physical building itself. But now, as the guidance has come in, the technology that we have, the positive use of the technology, is reflective of the fifth dimension, meaning that in the fifth dimension, there is no space or time limitation. So this technology affords us to be able to contact with a lot of people from around the world, much more expansive. And as time goes by and the internet services will continue to expand around the planet. More and more people have access to being part of this global communication network. And so no longer is there a geographical barriers. You can be from anywhere in the world and be able to tap into an agreed upon uh, pinpoint of time and be part of a group. So again, time is no longer a a time is no longer a barrier, nor is geographical, and is going to continue that way. And okay, Michelle, I will answer your question about that in just a moment. So, what I want to talk about is the counterfeiting spirit. Now, if those of you who may be familiar with the Gnostic Gospels, they speak of this counterfeiting spirit, and most certainly is mentioned in several Gospels, but most certainly in the Pistis Sophia, which is a profound body of work that gives a lot of answers as to what's going on in the planet. How did we even get here? And that is now people are waking up, seekers of truth, saying, what is the purpose of life? Why am I here? I have sensed this much more than this physical body and this physical reality. And most certainly, there is. And for those of you that are, feel have an attunement or resonance to the cosmic center, we're here to anchor light to the planet. We're here to raise the vibration. All of us as the family of light, what is known as the Ami Shaddai. That's said in Hebrew. And, we talked about the names of God, the names of power. This is what our ancestors used. This is to pierce through the darkness, the illusions, the delusions, the confusions, okay, that is so prevalent on the planet. Not that it's new, okay, this is just being amplified now, but this has been going on for some time. And it's like you have to get up, and you have to first of all have the courage to be your authentic self. And I know how hard that could be for many people, particularly young light workers coming into this world. And it takes courage to be your authentic self, but you have to listen to that. And as the Greeks said, know thyself. Knowing thyself will begin to put you on the path of your own self rediscovery as to who you truly are. What is the big picture over here? And that's where we are right now. And this isn't like it's brand new news, because our ancestors, many of our ancestors, they have known the broader scale, the cosmic story. And you could go back into the ancient writings, and no matter which culture or what location on the planet, they all say a similar thing, that there is a higher dynamic taking place that affects us as these, human, earth surface humans, because there's humans scattered throughout the entire universe. We're not the only Homo sapiens, as such on the earth. And there's those within the earth, on top of the earth, and in different locations. You figure like this, right? We have humans from our planet on a space station, right? So, we're not talking just about earthbound humans here. We as a species have already gone out into space, so we have our own humanity hanging out in the space stations, and they've been to the moon. So, just know that this is also happening on other timelines and other levels, and in the myriad of the supreme one's God's creation that is boundless and eternal and continually in creation. So there's a whole lot that's out there. So we have to start really, if we have not, start thinking now beyond our, physical, mental, and emotional body and our experience in this three-dimensional world. It's just a little snapshot of the multiple myriad of worlds that are out there, and in all of the ancient writings, spiritual writings, even in the Bible. Jesus the Christ said, "My Father has many mansions," and if you do study, the Gnostic Gospels, the Valentians, there's so many of them that are out there. The Book of Mani, the Pistis Sophia. Uh, there's a whole cosmology as to where we are in the full. Cosmic arrangement of things, if you will. There's the right hand of God. They speak of the left hand of God. So there's the upper worlds, the lower worlds, and our planet is, considered most certainly in the lower worlds, and what some may call a fallen world, meaning that, and there's different cosmic stories about it, but pretty much it just comes down to where there was an interception, or somehow this energy fell from the divine purpose, the divine plan, which always comes from unconditional love. And that somehow there was a skew, the filament fell, there was some sort of separation. And that's why we're walking around like, who are we? As we are a species that with amnesia. We can't remember where we came from and who we are, unless we really put some effort into seeking that, because we actually do have within our own DNA all the mechanisms in there to get that answer. It may be a little bit of a journey to do so, because of the distractions of the world, because there are those forces that just want to keep things, keep us in the matrix, if you will, that want us just, hey, you don't have to seek beyond this, because you have, some powers that be that feel that they're in charge. And, we are like the proverbial elephant that, as a little baby, the elephant is put to a little stake, a tiny little stake, and a little rope wrapped around its foot. It's being conditioned to say that, you got to stay there. That stake controls your life. You can only walk when that stake is gone. And then at some point, the elephant that becomes this, majestic, massive beast, say, accidentally falls over and pulls that little stake off the ground. Like, what a surprise that would be to that elephant. Like, what? You mean I've been tethered to this thing here all this time, all my life, and I could have pulled it out at any time and I didn't know about it? You would say that that's a great revelation, that's a great awakening, if you will. So We are most certainly and have been, but now more than ever in this cycle of time, humans are really awakening more in mass, which is great. Many, 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 centuries ago, you could even come out and say, I have an opposing view from, whatever the laws were at the time, the aristocracy or the, monarchy. You could be killed. And so things had to go underground. Also, this has been a while on this planet. So you have like the Nag Hammadi and the text and also the Dead Sea Scrolls. Those had to be hidden. They were in caves and charged and covered up. And there is actually in the book of Manny where it talks, a scribe writes and says, they have tried to stamp out the truth. They have tried to, this information could be lost over time, but there will be the time when this information comes back again. There are many predictions about all that has been hidden will come to the surface, will come to the day of light again. And we are at that time. So let me just speak a little bit about this counterfeiting um, a spirit that the Gnostic Gospels speak of. So basically, it's from the time that we are born, because again, now you have to think beyond just a global perspective. You have to think cosmically. Okay, so we have to think, our sun. Okay, most certainly is the thing that we see in the sky that helps us to maintain life here on this planet, but beyond the sun, okay, there is our solar system. We have an entire solar system. Okay, beyond the solar system, we have a galaxy. We're part of the Milky Way galaxy, and so you have to understand that our story is a cosmic story. So it's way, way, way beyond our little tiny little blue pearl that we have. That's very special. It's unique and so forth, but it's just a little tiny thing to a much larger, larger cosmic story. And so there have been many of our ancestors who have held this knowledge, and secret societies that have held this knowledge, passed on from generation to generations, for those that are ready, for those that sense and feel, and even in a past life or before you incarnated, there was some sort of agreement, some sort of partnership, some sort of like, I got to remember this when I come into the world of forgetfulness. It's like you have to recapitulate yourself, like, who am I? I'm supposed to do something. I think I have a mission. I may have a talent, but what is it? I got to do it. Hey, I know all that stuff. Okay, you're walking to be in your dharma, what you came here to do. But now more than ever, if you intend to say, I want to remember my cosmic memory to come back, I'm going to tell you something I did years ago. Because, see, we are such powerful beings. It's just that we don't know it, like that elephant doesn't know how majestic and powerful it was. And those powers that be that try to keep it tethered in one space, it could have just swung its little trunk and just knocked them off. Okay, that's sort of the story where we are as these humans on this planet. And the story is that we are powerful, powerful, majestic beings of light. That's who we truly are. Now, there's a big conspiracy, if you will, that doesn't want us to know that, doesn't want us to be empowered to be that, most certainly, and goes out of its way to keep the energetics oppressed and suppressed. So we would just be, the little mechanics, just, go to work, come back, have a house, whatever it is. And I don't have to tell you how much harder and harder that is, the separation of the haves and the have nots. Like, wait a minute, some people have all this money, unbelievable, they can burn, yet you have other humans that are starving. Everybody that's listening or resonates to this has a sense that something's not right on the planet, something is not wrong. A loving, benevolent God, how can this even happen? And yes, it isn't one thing, and there's many different layers. And yes, this is a schoolhouse, and we do learn things, and we do move in our consciousness, where that's concerned, but also too, because it's not just one thing. There are those who do come here with a sense of mission and purpose to change things. They're like, this is not how it's supposed to be. And if that is what you're feeling, has sensed that since birth, or perhaps later on you have a spiritual awakening and just saying, no, I feel that I have to do something, whether that is holding light, whether that's saying a prayer, whether that, however that is expressed, in your life, and the opportunity to do that in your life. Okay, because I think from early on, we can agree that there, most certainly, we're in a world of duality. So that's understood. You kind of figure that out from the very beginning. And then, but what's causing this world of duality? Because in other worlds, they don't have that. They have a one, where there's a higher consciousness and understanding in the upper worlds that it's all one. Okay, and that you have the multitude of the diversity of God. How can you limit God? I mean, it's just a force that is limitless, that's eternal, and is creative, nonstop. And as is this birth and death, you have the rebirth. I mean, it's just continual. So once you can wrap your mind around that part of it, looking at it from this perspective, to say, well, what's causing the duality? Why are things the way they are on the planet? Well, there's a whole cosmic history story about it, which, we could go into more details with classes and stuff at later on. But for now, to say, we can go back to where, again, some sort of separation. I know when I was brought up in Catholic school, they were saying a third of the angels, they separated from God, and they kind of did their own things. And just like them, okay, we too, okay, because we are creations of the divine, we have creative power. So they're able also to create worlds and create life, not like the divine, not like the the divine will of God. They're skewed. Okay. So you can say that we're part of this skew. We're part of this skew, not just us, the whole universe actually is part of this skew, which is why you always got to be discerning. But the counterfeiting spirit that the Gnostic speaks about is that energy, if you will, that is always trying to maybe trip you up, that is pushing you towards the lower parts of yourself, the animal parts of yourself. It pushes for, yeah, go ahead, have that extra drink. Go ahead and do it. Yeah, oh, they don't like you, so the hell with them. It's trying to bring your energy down. And it's a trickster. A lot of times it's a trickster. So what can you do to safeguard yourself from this counterfeiting spirit? Okay. Well, I will tell you one of the things, and it's just this counterfeit spirit is connected to many other things and many other levels. What we could say is the agenda, the anti-human agenda. That's what I call it. It's the anti-human agenda. And the anti-human agenda is always tempting you to move away from the higher aspirations of yourself. The benevolence, the forgiveness, unconditional love, being supportive, being kind, all of that stuff. Those are the higher frequencies. This one is bringing you into like jealousy and envy and greed and power, that energy. So you have this dynamic. Counterfeiting spirit, as they called it in the Gnostic Gospels, is the one pulling you away from that. You could say it is the counterfeiting spirit versus the Holy Spirit, okay, or the light of consciousness, okay, the upper worlds, the higher frequencies that wants to pull you up out of the muck and mire, to bring you into an awareness as to who you truly are, and to release us, or cut the bonds, this tethering that keeps us here, going over and over and over again, the rebirth, up and back again, up and back again. When there's actually, it's like a glass ceiling, like the glass ceiling, when there's something much higher that we need to go through, but keeps us very limited. So you could always look up and do in your research the counterfeiting spirit, but also it is very much connected to like addictions. Okay. And I would just want to say, now more than ever, you do want to be very, very, careful and aware of what you expose yourself to. You don't want to overdrink liquor. You don't want to do, drugs that are going to, mess with your mind. Because if people knew Okay, if they really knew, like somebody who's addicted to alcohol or somebody who's addicted to drugs, oh my God, you open yourself wide open, okay, to possession. There's no other word to call it possession. You see people doing like unbelievable stuff that the natural human nature would be counter to this. They wouldn't naturally want to do it, but they can do the most heinous, deplorable things. That is a possession. You are now opening up because we're connected to everything. And that's why it's so important to discern what are we going to align ourselves with? Because it's coming in fast and heavy, fast and heavy. And I'm just going to start vlogging and talking about stuff, real serious stuff. I'm always kind of cautious how much to give out there, people are ready for. I'm just going to kind of put it all out there because things are getting that desperate, so to speak. So you being on your spiritual path, okay, whatever that spiritual path from you, there will always spiritual paths come from a place of love, of unconditional love. Doesn't matter what tradition you come from, it comes from that. Develop that because that is your protection. Okay, you have the arm of God around you. That is your protection from those negative, adverse influences, that counterfeiting spirit that wants to bring you down and keep you entrapped in a 3D world of misery. Okay, where you cannot be released to go into the upper worlds, the way upper worlds of ascension. But you know what? This is the good news. We're on our way. So we don't have to worry about that. I believe the momentum has happened. At one point, I was real concerned, but now I feel a lot better. I think that there's more and more people opening up. There are more and more people realizing, the manipulation and the distortion, distractions that are taking place in society, and are now aligning to that higher divine guidance that everybody has access to. So we could tell the counterfeiting spirit in our lifetime, goodbye, goodbye. We're going back to our original source where we came from. So with that, I'm going to say namaste to everybody on Facebook Live. And as always, you are invited to join us every Monday. Simply look down at the Facebook Live Facebook page. You'll see the Anchoring Light with Baba Sharone. Register. All you have to do is register once, and then you'll be available to join us on Zoom every single Monday without fail, going 14 years. Namaste.